Hi everyone, my name's Lily. I'm the book reviewer behind Utopia State of Mind, and it's another day, another wrap up. I'm going to be sharing my November wrap up with you. I realize they've been kind of rapid fire because I've been so behind, but this is November, even though it's halfway through December. But let me chat about November. November was it was a blur. As I said in my October wrap up, which I will leave the link down below too, November and October kind of felt like all just one big month for me. I think partly it was that a lot of it was me recovering from some trips I was doing. And also, I feel like as soon as I got back from my trips, then it was immediately sort of the pre-holiday season. So that was really stressful, as the holidays I feel like are for me. And so, yeah, it just kind of felt like November went by in a flash, probably because it did. I had some really fun kind of bookish experiences. I will try to link my book launch vlog or book launch TikTok compilation for Coldwire. That was really fun to see. And I can't remember what else I did. I'll try to link my Instagram wrap up down below. But yeah, November just felt like it went by so fast, and we're also halfway through December. So, I think I will do a December wrap up though. I know that a lot of people kind of skip out on it because it's the end of the year, but I always do it because I really like the continuity's sake. So, you'll see me again for the December wrap up. And then for the end of the year content, already I'm dreading making it, but such is the end of the year. So that was kind of everything that happened in November. I didn't really make anything in November. I actually did make one thing, and it's very difficult to explain. I've been trying to explain it to a lot of different people, and they've all been confused. So basically, it is a mitten that two people can have and wear while holding hands. So basically, it's hard to describe, but basically, if it was sort of like this, so that's the shape. It looks kind of like a misshapen heart. This is sort of the shape. So I crocheted that for a friend for their birthday. And so I made that, but it's gone because their birthday has come and gone. So I don't have anything to show you, but I'm going to be making a second one. And so I can show that to you when that's finished. But anyway, that's the one thing I made. I haven't even, if you've been watching for a while, you will know that my orange sweater vest, I haven't even cast off on the other sleeve, and not to mention I have not done the v-neck. So that is honestly one of my big goals for the end of the year, but it's halfway through December. So I don't know honestly if that will happen, but that's my big goal. I mean, obviously my goal is to finish casting off the shoulder, but I would just love if I could finish this piece by the end of December. That would be great. I already have like I thought that I was going to go through this way faster, so I bought and purchased and already kind of planned out the next two pieces, and I feel like I'm going to be working on them until it's sweater vest season again. So that's been interesting. I've also been having to do a lot of work on clay earrings, so hopefully you'll see that in my December wrap up. I'm getting ahead of myself, but hopefully you'll see that in my December wrap up. But yeah, anyway, that would be really great, basically. I want to talk about the books that I read. November was not a great month for stats for me. I only read 19% of my books had queer characters as main characters, and 44% of those had BIPOC characters as main characters for November, so it wasn't great. It didn't achieve my stats on either front. Also, I feel like November and October actually have been the months where I've read the least. So, let me just show you some of the physical books that I read in November. I don't have all of the physical books that I read in November. I was traveling around trying to conserve space, conserve resources just in general, and so I don't have all of the books. I like always, so I don't know what else is new. I had some really good reads and some really standout reads, not as many as normal. I think it's just because I wasn't reading as much anyway, and there are a lot of ones that were even 4.5 stars basically. But I just want to chat about kind of my 5-star favorites here because I tend to ramble. So I have two to share with you. The first one, I think, is one of the last books, if not the last book I read in November. I think. It is the Flightless Birds of New Hope. I have adored Farah Rishi's books forever. I've been following Farah since I hope you get this message, this really gorgeously emotional YA at the end of the world sort of apocalyptic book about kind of like an alien invasion. And I've been following ever since. I've read all of Farah's projects and I've loved them. And so I was expecting to love this one, but I don't think I understood how much. Like the last book I read from Farah was Sorry for the Inconvenience or Sorry for Your Inconvenience. I'm not really sure what. I will put a cover here, which was a memoir. And so coming to this one, which also talks about grief and loss and the complex feelings we have associated with grief and loss, specifically the person, right? I feel like after someone has passed away, there's this tendency to kind of romanticize them and only talk about the good. And it's hard to navigate and process our feelings of maybe anger, resentment, the dynamics of the relationships, and also the differences, right? Not everyone's, I don't think anyone's relationship with anyone is 100%, sunshine and rainbows. And when someone has passed away, it's hard to navigate this. And specifically in the Flightless Birds of New Hope, it's not someone who's passed away, but they have a very complicated relationship with their family pet bird because their parents have kind of really fixated on it. So basically the whole premise of the Flightless Birds of New Hope is that after their parents, the whole family, their three siblings, after their parents have died, they kind of come back, and there's an estranged sibling. He comes back, he's the executor of the will. He comes back and it's mega awkward. And also he kind of lets out their family pet bird, and then they have to go on a road trip together to go get that bird. So that's kind of the basic premise of this. As you can tell, if you love sibling, family, meaty, dynamic books, this is for you. There are a lot of unprocessed feelings. There's a lot of feelings that need to be processed. What it's like to feel like you've abandoned people, to feel abandoned is a huge theme. I also love how this book navigates when you have to leave, like when you feel like you are kind of just steadily drowning every day, staying in survival. To survive is to leave. You have to do it. That is so beautifully explored in the Flightless Birds of New Hope, and it ends up being kind of this really moving picture of family and reconciliation and forgiveness and family difficulties, while also being a bit hilarious with kind of this bird road trip. And the bird itself as a character was really fascinating. I don't want to spoil it too much, but it was really fascinating to read as well. So I wanted to bring that up. That was one of my favorite books for November. And the second one is The Sacred Space Between. This is my L'Oreal edition, so I will leave the actual other US cover here because this is a redesigned cover, which is super, super gorgeous. I love this one. It also has edges as well, so really beautiful. But this book is so intriguing. If you liked The Night and the Moth, and The Night and the Moth was one of my favorite books of 2025, then you have to read The Sacred Space Between, because both of them so beautifully deal with religious trauma. They both deal with kind of cultures where, and institutions where they cannot survive by being questioned. If you start to question things, you become disobedient, you become sort of an outcast. The Sacred Space Between also deals with this. It deals with what happens when you have no choice but to be grateful, you have no choice but to be obedient. Like, is that really love, and is that really devotion? This is what the book's about. But basically the premise of The Sacred Space Between is that one of the main characters, she is an iconographer, so she basically paints pictures of saints, and she is supposed to paint a picture of this other saint who, I think this is a dual perspective, so I think he's another character, and so she's supposed to paint this picture of him, but he doesn't want her to, and we're not exactly sure why. And then through that they end up kind of talking about their histories, their backgrounds, and also this kind of institution that connects them. So that's kind of the basic premise of The Sacred Space Between. And as I've kind of said before, the reasons why I loved it is I'm a sucker for books where a character has to question the world around them and has to really kind of think about, is this how it's always been? Is this how it should always be? And specifically when you're talking about these institutions such as religion, which have so much power, they have so much wealth, they have so much lore and mythology behind them. It's really interesting to see characters who have to really fight hard to not only question the institution itself, but also question their own feelings about it. And I'm always drawn to characters like that. And so that's why I really liked The Sacred Space Between, and also why I like The Night and the Moth. So if you like The Night and the Moth and you're kind of waiting for The Knave and the Moon, I think that's the second series or the second sequel title, then pick up The Sacred Space Between, because I think they have very similar explorations of that theme in different ways, but very similar kind of themes in that way. I think them as characters would get along really well. So those are the books that I wanted to mention for my November wrap up. I would love to know what some of your favorites were for November. And this is probably going to be my shortest ever wrap-up video for you. So I will see you in the next video. Have a really great rest of your reading day, week, month, and 2025 year. Bye.